Uh, Rohit, Rohit and Ashish is going to take another 5 to 10 minutes because I need to explain this first board and then I'll call you guys. Okay. So 5 minutes only. So I think the recording is on. This meeting is being recorded now. Okay. So let's see. Once again, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Vishnu, and in this session, we are going to discuss basically how we are going to collect the requirement from the customer, right? So it is going to be a pretty exciting session because in the first 15 or 20 minutes, what we are going to do is we are actually gathering requirement. We are actually going to get the requirement from our customers, right? And the name of the customer is Sports India. Basically, they create sporting goods like cricket bat, ball, then badminton, and so many things. Even they are in apparels, sports apparels also. Okay. So the agenda is we are going to first of all talk a little bit about the Sports India. Then we are going to invite Sports India CIO and uh, the chief architect, network architect. So basically, first thing first, this is a fictitious company, and uh, but we are going to create a simulated experience such that it is going to means if you consider a real life experience, then it happens when you need to go and talk to customer, CIO, maybe sometime the chief architect or the CTO, right? So we are going to see that how basically we can collect requirements on a pretty high level basis, and then we can meet customer technical teams to go a little bit deeper into that, right? So let's collect the customer requirement. Then, sorry. Then what we are going to do, we are going to put some amount of time in brainstorming those requirements, right? Because if we can brainstorm, then the requirements, we can come up with the high level design. Okay, at last, uh, if time permits, which I do not think so, we are going to discuss migration consideration. Otherwise, we will be discussing the migration into our next call, okay, which is going to be tomorrow. So having said that, let's talk about something about Sports India, which is our customer. Okay. So Sports India is the largest sporting good retailer. They are making sports good. So many stores they have all over India, right? If I give you precise count, then they have approximately 600 branches in 100 cities of India. So, and they are growing. Okay. Why I'm saying they are growing, because they are planning to expand their network in different part of the world. Uh, Right now, they are in India. They are looking for opening the offices, branches, and their stores in Malaysia, Singapore, and so many places. Right now, they have main campus in Mumbai, right here, and they have two data centers, one in Mumbai and the other one is Chennai. Okay, so now the requirement is basically they are looking to transform their wide area network using Cisco SD-WAN. So this is a little bit information about Sports India. Okay, so I have invited two uh, two people from Sports India, and the first one is Chief Information Officer, which is Ashish Chadha, and the second one is Chief Architect of their network technology domain, who is Mr. Rohit Dwivedi, right? So what we are going to do first, let's see how we can gather the requirement from the customer. So having said that, I am uh, welcome Ashish and welcome Rohit. How are you guys today?
Thanks, Vishnu.
Hi,
Thanks
hi,
for
Risu.
giving
Yeah.
this role. Yeah, we are
Okay,
good today.
thank you. So to begin with, to begin with Ashish, right? Uh, I know that Sports India is actually looking to expand their WAN infrastructure, right? Uh,
Yes.
so what challenges are you facing with your current network, if I may ask, Ashish?
Yes, I'll let you know that we have running this business for the last 10 years as of now. So as you can see that there are technologies changing at a rapid pace, but the things which we have observed that my WAN infrastructure, which is as of now is incapable of meeting the requirements of the business.
Hmm.
So I would like to tell you that the current applications and the workload have already been moved to Azure and AWS. So
Hmm.
our employees are experiencing. I mean, our employees' experience of working on these business applications is poor. I mean, they are not happy with the how the things are working. So sometimes they are not able to access the applications, or sometimes there are some issues, so that we are facing business loss as well. So there are several outages as well, and several
Okay.
sites were down, resulting in huge business losses. So what we have done is that we have invested huge amount of money on purchasing WAN circuits, but they are not giving proper results.
Okay.
So in other words, I can say that I mean. We are not happy with the way we consume our WAN infrastructure, and that's why we decided to move our business to this SD-WAN infrastructure. So what best you can offer to us? I mean, let's see on this.
Okay, thank you so much. So basically, because of recent outages, and you are thinking that those outages are mainly because of your WAN infrastructure.
WAN, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So if I may ask, on a with this transformation, right? What exactly
Mm-hmm.
you are looking for? I can understand that there are some problems with respect to your current WAN infrastructure, right?
Yes.
And there are some outages also. But exactly what you are looking for from this transformation?
Basically, we are looking for, for an agile and scalable WAN solution that can meet our current and future business requirements. So
Hmm.
since we are in expansion mode, and the plan is to open the different stores across the globe in different countries like Singapore, Malaysia, and Europe. So we have decided to move our on-prem data centers to co-location facilities to reduce operating expense. So
Okay.
many applications and workloads have been shifted to cloud, as I have already told you, to
Okay.
AWS and Azure.
Okay.
And since this WAN solution should be able to work with our expansion plan, cloud connectivity, and the bandwidth requirements. So moreover, I see my networking staff is spending a lot of time. I mean, almost 40 to 45% of their time in troubleshooting issues. So I also want to reduce that time of there, so that they can utilize more of their time in doing some innovative work in optimizing the network rather than the troubleshooting. So this is also is one of the main concerns.
Okay, so this is good. Means even I could see in this segment that most of the companies are either using career neutral facilities uh, to shift some of the means almost everything from their on-prem data center, or they are using co-location facilities, right? So this is
Hmm.
good. So basically we can take that into consideration, because most of the companies are doing that, and it is good that you are shifting some of your load from on-prem to co-location or into the cloud. And I can understand. I'm seeing this kind of pattern everywhere, that most of the networking staff of a company spends time in troubleshooting network rather than spending time in innovating it, right? So uh, okay, thank you so much, Ashish ji, for your inputs. If I may ask, Rohit, how your current WAN infrastructure looks like?
Yeah, sure, Vishnu. So the thing is that means we are having a kind of very flat network, I mean legacy network. So As you know, like we are totally dependent on the MPLS service provider, which is basically provide a secure and uh, 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 dedicated environment bandwidth for the application. So almost we have every remote sites and on-prem data centers are connected to the MPLS.
Mhm.
So for the security reason and compliance reason, definitely like our every sites needs internet access, but it is basically connected from the nearest data center. So somehow this is good in terms of the security, but most of the time we doesn't have a good application experience. So sometimes we feel worst for the some of the applications. So as
Okay.
you know, like we are spending our business across India. So we have now more than 700 businesses, branches actually. So on some of the large stores, we have both MPLS and internet connection for the redundancy purpose. But these links are not fully utilized, and we don't have like active where we can do some kind of load balancing. So
Okay.
internet is kind of rarely used. Whenever we are having issues with the MPLS, then we are switching the traffic to the internet. So the performance actually, sometime internet nowadays, you know, like 1 Gbps internet we have available in
Yes.
India. So internet
Mhm.
circuit is better than MPLS, and which is cost effective for us actually. So as a result, like we are not utilizing the bandwidth properly. And on the LAN side, we are using like Cisco SD access solutions, software defined access solutions. And so looking to that, like we have already upgraded our infrastructure at the access level. So
Mhm.
on the WAN solution side, I mean, we are looking to the kind of solution which can interoperate with the LAN infrastructure. So this is like a requirement we are looking like, and this is current infrastructure looks like.
Okay. So basically, you already are aware of software-defined solution from Cisco at the access side, and now you are considering using SD-WAN for your wide area networking side.
Yes,
Okay. So
yes,
I got to know that basically your application has some stringent requirement in terms of SLAs, and but the problem is current network is not agile enough to move your traffic load from current link to the other link if the current link is not performing well,
correct.
because we are running the legacy protocols and not. So you are you are looking for a network which is kind of application driven, right? So
Yes.
this is good. So if I may ask Rohit, in the past, as mentioned by Ashish ji also, that you have been facing some of the outages, right? So
Yeah.
can I know what kind of outages we are talking about here?
Sure. I mean, definitely. But before going to the outage, I mean, I just want to make a point regarding visibility into the network. So
Mhm.
the current issues, like we don't have a single pane of glass from where I could manage my complete WAN infrastructure.
Mhm.
So it's like totally disaggregated. Like a WAN is different kind of monitoring system. Access, we have a different monitoring system. So we need kind of single pane of glass where we can manage everything. If I can't see what is going on in my network, I really can't optimize it, you
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And currently in real time, it is very difficult actually to track my application over WAN transport.
Mhm.
Even some of our applications have a very strict requirement in terms of latency and jitter. Nowadays, you know, the application is
Yeah.
very latency and jitter actually
Especially.
sensitive. Yeah, yeah. So these applications just cannot work if the network doesn't meet the requirement, you know. And I would like to give an example of recent outage as you asked the question. So in one of my large site, I had two MPLS circuits, and
Mhm.
employee were working with a critical application over the first MPLS link. The application was basically hosted in data center, And in an event, there is one impairment in the first MPLS link, and we had some high latency over it. As a result, the user were not able to access the application, and
Okay.
I had another application link for redundancy purpose, but we were not able to shift traffic over it because of like some other challenges, and simply the second circuit is of no use under that situation. So the WAN is not agile to handle such use cases currently what we are having that. So this was like latest and the major WAN outage we faced.
Oh, okay. So again, basically the application SLAs are there, and some of the time your WAN infrastructure doesn't meet that SLAs, and that's why you see outages.
Yeah,
Because of the fact that, as you mentioned, that there is an impairment on the link. The link was not down, but there is some problem with respect to link, because of which that you are not getting the required SLAs. But the
yeah,
problem of the legacy routing protocols is that they cannot work on the impairment. They just wait for link to be down to, so that they can move to the new circuit. Okay, okay, I can understand that. One more question, maybe both anyone you can answer. Maybe Rohit, if you can. So,
mhm.
as mentioned by Ashish ji also, that you are right now looking into the cloud also, right? Your goal is to move most of your application into the cloud, right? So, and I noticed that when Ashish ji was saying that they have moved some of the application and they are not seeing the desired results. So, do you means, if I may ask that, do you see a problem in application experience right now also, right? While you access your application in cloud.
Yes, we are actually. So as mentioned earlier, security is a prime concern for us.
Mhm.
Uh, we just can't let any remote site to access internet directly without going to the firewall. You know that, right? And
Yeah.
our firewall are in the data centers. This
Mhm.
means traffic from remote sites comes to the data center first and then go to towards cloud.
Yeah.
So this traffic path creates a bad experience for us trying to access cloud resource. So we are looking for a solution that can meet our security compliance, of course, with the great application experience. So which means I should be able to go directly to the cloud from the remote sites without compromising on my security policies, like something we can move firewall from the data center closest to the sites itself. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So generally means I can see that this pattern everywhere, right? And most of the legacy network that uh, the the security or the security team is forcing all the branches to come to a central location, so that their traffic is scrubbed against the firewall, or their where they have defined the policies, and then can go out of the internet. But yes, these network are not designed in accordance with the new technologies trends which we are seeing, like AWS or the cloud. Now the cloud is where we are shifting everything, right? And that is where basically the problem is happening, that we are forcing our branches to the data center and then we are going out. So we have a solution for that, no issues. And what we are going to do is, so for now, basically, I'm pretty good with your vision. Actually, what you are looking as the outcome of this engagement with us, and believe me, we are going to work on it. And it is going to be good, means if we can have some of the context of your network engineering team, right? Although I have a pretty good understanding now that basically you have network based on WAN network based on MPLS, but we still need some more information. So as a to start working on this project, I am good, but it is really, really it is going to be great if you can provide us some of the context of your network engineering team, so that we can brainstorm with them about your current network infrastructure. And if possible, means I shouldn't ask this from you, but if you have the current topology of your WAN or the LAN infrastructure, it is going to be good for me to just have a look at it, and then I can go and prepare to meet your engineering team. And thank you so much, Ashish ji and Rahul. Sorry, and Rohit ji. Thank you so much for that. Okay.
Thank you, Vishnu. Anything
Thanks,
I mean,
Vishnu.
which you need, we'll provide it.
Okay. So you are most welcome to be on this session for rest of the time. And now we can just switch off the cameras if you want. Thank you so much,
Sure.
Ashish, and
Thanks.
thank you so much, Ashish and Rohit.
Thanks.
So this is good. Just wait a minute, guys. Okay, so you can see my screen, Vishal, Jyoti, Virag, right?
Yes,
Yes,
we
Yeah,
can.
you can.
Okay. So just now we gathered some of the requirement, and believe me, we were talking to CIO and chief architect of the company. So we didn't want to go into much details. And there are going to be subsequent meeting with the network engineering team where we can gather all the customer requirements, right? So if I on top of your mind, what exactly you think we gather, means what customer is looking for, means anybody inputs are more than welcome, right? So whatever you are going to say,
Yeah,
whatever
Vishnu,
you are going
I
to say,
have.
I will write. Uh-huh.
Okay. So the requirement is it is to utilize the bandwidth, enough bandwidth what we have. It's the same situation in my environment, organization where so my network structure also having the same problem. So we also, day-to-day life we experience this kind of bandwidth related issues like whenever MPLS same infrastructure what we have. Okay, in
Mhm.
my environment.
Okay.
So we have a MPLS connectivity,
Mhm.
pretty good bandwidth we have, and also the internet connectivity also there. Okay, so what we connect actually, rather than connecting a pure legacy connectivity, we have a Meraki setup. Okay, so
Okay.
we connect setup into ending up a setup into a Meraki appliances.
Mhm.
Okay, so basically we have a lot of basically our customer is from US. Okay, so more than 100 plus location sites are there for us. So everything will be ending up to it is different. I mean, some sites are like a flat sites where we have only one VLAN which is configured, and other sites having a multiple VLAN sites also. So that's a mixed up setup.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, like, even if we introduce this MX box,
Mhm.
like MX clients, Meraki setup to the connectivity.
Yeah.
In Meraki setup itself, we have an option for the SD-WAN setup, right?
Yeah.
SD-WAN connectivity setup is there.
Yeah.
So that is sufficient for a connectivity which we have a flat network, like a small setup, like like a less than 100 users are there in a situation in a location. We call a flat setup. It is a small setup actually. So that would
So
be sufficient, or
Virag, you are going into the Meraki technology. What I want to ask is how many sites we are talking here, if you are taking
uh,
example of your company.
it is my if I'm taking it is 85 sites are there.
85
85.
sites.
Yeah,
Okay, so that can be
approximately.
that can be deal with the Meraki solution. But see, we can discuss your infrastructure maybe later, or maybe basically we can meet for half an hour, right,
Okay.
after this
Okay.
meeting to
Yeah.
discuss that. But for now, it is going to be good that we have just met with CIO and a chief architect of a company. Let's try to discuss what they were saying, right? out of this 20-25 minutes conversation, what we got as a requirement,
Oh,
and we
okay.
can discuss anything. So I presume that you wanted to say that customer right now is looking for utilizing bandwidth, right?
Correct.
This is your
Correct.
first input, because they are not able to utilize their full capacity, right?
And also other thing they must be facing the issue that whenever the outage is happening to the MPLS,
Mhm.
they will not be able to automatically move to the internet setup. So they'll have to manually have to be shift to the connectivity or something that they will be facing a challenge for it.
Yeah. So you are saying traffic shifting is another problem in case of a
Outage in a single network in
link
MPLS
problem.
or
Yeah.
a link problem. Correct. Correct. They
Yeah.
must be facing that issues also.
Okay. This is good. Anybody, anything else which you have noticed from customers' feedback?
The path optimization, like as of now, all the data is flowing through the data center. It's taking the longer path.
Yeah, path optimization. Because right now, customer was saying that uh, their branch traffic is coming to the data center and then going out. But we need to make sure that customer is having this requirement. Sumit, could you be please on mute because there is a disturbance? Yeah. So customer is aware of this path, right? The longer path, and he was saying that he most of the branch traffic has to go over to the data center because they have implemented security policies there, right? They cannot just open an internet on a particular branch because they do not want to put all the firewalls there, right? But yes, he is open for the solution that if we can provide him a solution where this thing can be tackled at the branch, so he can also connect to the internet, those branches, right? But yes, path optimization is an issue and an ask from the customer. Anything else? Or
Also, scalability is another issue. As he said, he will be implementing this solution for his business is getting extended to another 700 or out of India locations. He is going to be extended.
yeah,
So, creating, I mean, scalability is another requirement, right? He wanted to extend the connectivity, so uh, like then it will be scalability is an issue, right? He wanted to
yeah,
extend the network.
yes, I get that. Good. Jyoti, anything which you would like to add here? No. Rahul, anything? Vishal sir, anything you want to add here?
Yeah, so I make my some of the points. So I might be repeating, but I just want to make sure whatever I'm thinking while we are talking, right?
Yeah,
So customer wants to first of all wants to work on the network, whatever they have, right? In terms of the link, like MPLS or internet, right? They want
Mhm.
plus. So that is there might be physical topology what they have. Then they want to optimize their layer 2 network like a SD solution that they have in a better way, so that can be integrated properly with the SD-WAN solution if they are going correct. So and then at the same time they want to resolve a couple of issues that they have, like a load balancing or redundancy issues that they have, right? And they want to expand their network. Uh, Plus they want to do the application aware solution as well, correct? Like they, so that can that utilization of their internet link, if they want to have a primary over there, their
yeah,
application works properly, right? So these are the some of the things that they want to do, correct?
yes, correct.
Yeah.
And I think if you have noticed, customer was pretty vocal about that his networking staff is spending almost 40% of its time, right?
Manageability,
In troubleshooting. Yeah, yeah,
manager,
yeah,
how they want to manage the network, like a center management, right?
right.
But yeah, so but in that particular case, the customer has a two type of flavor, right? Like might be if they have SD like a SD-LAN solution, then they gonna go with a Catalyst, 9K or something. So do our vManage or the solution that we gonna go with a SD-WAN, do they capable to manage the layer 2 network as well, like a layer 2 software defined network as well?
That's
No,
already they're doing it, right? And STS solution, they are already in place, right? That is what
yeah. So
describes.
basically, if I give you a little bit idea, although we are going out of the topic, but because customer has asked it, we need to discuss. So basically, SDA solution is again where you have edges, where your endpoints are connected. Suppose this is your campus, right? Suppose this is your campus environment. These are your edges, where actually your wireless access point or user with the laptop actually connects, right? And then basically they have a brain here, just like we have vSmart, which they call control plane node, right? Where basically they are running list protocol.
Deny.
Do not, yeah, do not worry about it. Whatever I'm saying, but all these edges are connected, right? But if they want to talk to outside world, we have a border router here, right? And believe me, I have created a 3 hours course already available on YouTube. If you see that, your understanding for SD access is going to be pretty clear, right? So generally means although we are working, Cisco is, and the work is already completed, that how we can introduce a single router here, which can be working as the WAN side and on the LAN side also, which take part in this SDA fabric, right? So I will be giving you more information on it. Do not worry. But right now the ask is the customer LAN side is totally onto the SDXS environment. But believe me, at the end of the day, if you leave the fabric portion, if you want to connect this SDXS fabric to the outside world, this is again a router which is running BGP or whatever. And we know that our SD-WAN routers are also capable of running BGP at the LAN side. So these two guys can communicate. If there is no interoperability at all between SDXS and SD-WAN, we can still work. But yes, how we are handling this, can we have the same box instead of two, right? This is the point where we need to think more. Okay, so customer is asking for a single point of single pane of glass, right? Where he can from where he can manage its complete infrastructure. So if you are aware of this SDXS solution, we have DNAC there, right? Which is called DNAC,
Yes.
which is responsible for managing everything on your LAN side. And Cisco is working towards a solution so that this DNAC alone can manage your LAN side, can WAN side, right? And basically, if you know that they have the third solution in the domain of data center, which is ACI, right? Can we manage all these things from a single pane of glass? So customer is looking for the single pane of glass from the wide area networking perspective. But yes, Cisco is working towards. I'm not saying where we have reached into this technology till now, but yes, the work is going on. But yes, right now we can fulfill the customer requirement of having single pane of glass, right? Single pane of glass with
We cannot, right? We cannot because we doing two management system, one for the
yeah,
layer 2 and one for the
yeah,
layer.
but customer is looking for specifically mentioned for their WAN he wants. But yes, if he is looking for, if I have misunderstood it, then basically whatever he's asking, that if he can manage access as well as WAN from a single point, it is not the case right now. You are right, Vishal. But I could infer from their talk that they are looking for the right now they cannot manage their WAN from a single point. It seems that they have some different applications, right? So for their complete WAN infrastructure, they are looking for a single pane of glass. But you are right. If they are looking for both the solution, we do not have a solution till now.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. But that gonna happen with any tool, like any normal network as well, like not an software defined network. That
Yeah.
integration as well. Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Yes. Yes. So anybody else notice regarding customer asks? One thing which is pretty predominant here is customer is looking for moving into the cloud, right? They have mentioned about the co-location facilities. Means if they have their current data center, which is running applications or the servers, right? What they are doing is they are sending many of the application into the cloud, especially AWS, right? And the remaining thing, they do not want the on-prem data centers. Right now, they have two data centers, one in Mumbai, one in Chennai, right? And they are their on-prem data center because they are managing it. So they do not want that. So that is why they are moving most of the services into the cloud. But there are some applications, some services they cannot move into the public cloud. So they want to use the co-location facilities, right? Where basically the responsibility is not with the customer to manage and maintain all these the power requirement, cooling requirement, space requirement, right? Those are going to be with co-location facilities, and customer can reduce its cost. So they are moving some of the servers uh, and application into the cloud, and some of the servers into the co-location facility, right? And nowadays there is a concept of what we call means a specific concept in co-location facility, which is CNF. And do not worry about if you do not know about co-location or career neutral facilities. I am going to give you some of the idea in the next board. Okay. So uh, scalable means customer is looking for expansion, right? And recently they have some outages also. And the outages were happening because of path impairment, and that is why someone has told that traffic shifting is their problem, right? So these are the few things which customer has informed us in that 20 to 25-minute talk, right? But we cannot work more, right? We cannot see. We have a pretty basic idea about what customer is looking for, what customer's vision is, right? But still, we do not know how to proceed unless we get some of the diagram from the customer side that exactly how their WAN network is constructed, right? What are the different components? And then if we have a little bit knowledge about their LAN side also, it is going to be great, right? So offline, I have asked Mr. Rohit that if he can provide us some of your topology or diagrams. So he has sent me a diagram, which I would like to present you here, along with the challenges which I have noticed. So here you go. Okay. So on a pretty high level, their current network looks like this, although they have an internet presence of transport here also. Means there is another transport, but let's concentrate on whatever the diagram customer has sent us. Okay. So right now they have two data center. One is in Mumbai here, and the other one is in Chennai. This one. This is pretty easy to understand. And then they have several transport, MPLS1, MPLS2, right? He was mentioning at their LAN side, basically they are running OSPF and it is across. Although he hasn't mentioned in the interview which we were going through, but when we were talking, he mentioned that they are running OSPF. So this is good. We know, okay, I'm extremely sorry, they are running SD-access there, right? Because he has mentioned. And on the border router, they are running BGP. So these are their sites who have already moved into the SD access at the LAN side or at the service side. Okay, but there are many sites which haven't moved into SDXS, and there they are running OSPF. Okay, at a LAN site. So on a pretty high level, basically they have two circuits from which that traffic can go out, right? And right now, basically, if I draw their traffic path for the internet, then they have active and backup link. This link is basically their active. Suppose it's a 1 gig link or 10 gig link they have asked, and this is your say 2 gig link. So this is their active link, and this is basically all the time it is in the passive mode. Okay. So if I want to draw the traffic pattern for their internet, it is, we have discussed it many times in those 18 fundamental sessions, right? So you are pretty aware that most of the enterprises force their campuses or branch to go to the data center first to go out for the internet. So right now they have only single point where they can go out of the internet from here to here, right? And if the branches want to talk, communicate with each other, because this is an MPLS network, they can straight away go to the MPLS network. And okay, let me show branch to branch traffic with different color, maybe the red color. Right now, the branch to branch traffic is uh, uh, from MPLS to here. Because they can they can talk directly over MPLS. So there is not a requirement that you need to come to the data center first, and then basically you need to go to other branches, right? This is not the requirement for now, but we need to ask the customer that are they looking for this kind of thing? Because if they are saying that they are planning to expand their network into other regions also, so we need to ask their team when we are going to meet next time, that are they considering having another data center in that region, right? So suppose this is their Asia Pac region, right? And they are trying to come up with their branches into EMEA region also. If I say EMEA, I'm talking about the European region, right? So are they are going to open another, or are they are going to plan another co-location facility or data center there? And then basically they are going to have branches there. We are not sure how many branches, right? So, and I'm pretty sure that the branch in EMEA or in Europe, this should not able to communicate directly, right? And the reason is it is always going to be good, means if you can reach out to your regional data center, and then these data center have pretty high link connectivity, point to point sometime, right? So that your traffic can go like this. So we need to ask some of the questions, right? So between branches, which they are going to come up at the later stages, what is going to be the traffic pattern for those? Means this is the branch in EMEA region, which is going to their regional data center first. If I'm saying regional, so I'm talking about EMEA region. So their regional data center is going to be the data center which is in that region, right? Then basically they can communicate over this link, which is between data centers, and then they can talk between the inter-region side, right? So because customer was very clear in this vision that in future they are going to build branches in different part of the world, right? So we need to understand this. Okay, but for now there is not a requirement. And one thing I would like to clear you, in most of my projects, whatever I'm doing right now on SD-WAN, it is absolutely necessary to understand current routing, right? Or whatever the current infrastructure of the customer network. If you want to migrate from this legacy infrastructure to SD-WAN, it is absolutely necessary to understand each and every traffic flow, right? What traffic flow we are talking about, how they are going to access internet, how they are going to access, how they are accessing right now internet, how they are accessing right now cloud in their legacy environment, right? How is the communication between two branches, right? So these are some of the traffic flows which are important to understand, right? What exactly they are running in their WAN environment? Are they running IPsec, DMVPN, or whatever, right? Are they still using some overlay technology like DMVPN? Okay, what routers and switches are they using? If they are using IPsec tunnels, then how many tunnels we are talking about, right? But most of the cases, in most of the with most of the cases, if you are on the private part of the network, right? Mostly customers are not using these technologies like IPsec and DMVPN because MPLS provides you that private, that privacy, right? I'm not no, I'm not saying that MPLS is going to encrypt your messages. I'm just saying because this is going to be private network. MPLS is the private network, right? So most of the customer send traffic in plain text there. But yes, I could see that nowadays even customer running DMVPN over these MPLS service providers. So it is pretty simple, right? The topology is pretty simple, I would say. They are running SDXs and on the branches which have moved from the legacy LAN, right? By the way, if you are not aware, software-defined access is the technology. Software-defined access is the technology at the LAN side. So previously we have that three-tier architecture where we have access layer, we have distribution layer, and we have core layer, right, into the campus. So right now, basically, we can have a software-defined solution which can build this total LAN side of our network, right? And we call this technology from Cisco as software-defined access. Okay, so customer is saying that some of the sites have already been migrated to SDXs. So we need to think from that perspective also, that how we are going to make them talk. These two technologies talk with each other. Although there are some already development going on with respect to SD-WAN and SDXs and their interoperability. But if it is not released in the current software version, then we need to think about that how we can interoperate between SDXs and SD-WAN, right? It is going to be the simple task. So this is the network topology which I got from customer, and I believe it is pretty simple, right? I haven't drawn cloud in this, but yes, their cloud connectivity is like this, that they have kind of a direct link from their data center into the cloud, right? Maybe this cloud is AWS. And again, for the cloud part of the cloud traffic path from the branches is again that they are going to first to their data center, and then over this direct connection, they are going to go out with AWS. One thing in AWS, we call this as a direct connect. In Azure, the link between the data center and the cloud, right? The direct link, which I am showing here. In Azure, we call it as an express route. So one important thing for you means we all are network engineers, right? And right now, most of the things are moving into the cloud. But the problem is going to be same. Once you are into the cloud, it means that you have created or your own network into the cloud, but you need to connect back. For example, this customer is shifting its application into the cloud, right? Application or servers into the cloud. But in this cloud, you need to make sure, right? It is going to be your responsibility to come up your specific network here, which we call it VPC, right? And the problem is going to be same. Just like you are connecting your data center to your branches, you need to connect this cloud to your branches. Although the cloud is already connected to internet and you can put your router, if your router is able to reach internet, then it can able to reach the cloud. But most of the companies are not going to see the traffic going over the internet in plain text, right? Or basically the IP sector, because they want to control this traffic also, right? So there are two paths. They can send it to the data center and then AWS, or basically there is another solution which you call cloud on RAM, okay, which we are going to discuss in upcoming sessions. We haven't discussed anything related to cloud till yet, but yes, now we have seen that there is a requirement from the customer which specifically talks about the cloud, right? So to complete this whole design course, SD-WAN design course, we need to understand cloud capabilities of SD-WAN solution, right? If customer is shifting to the cloud, what solution Cisco SD-WAN proposes for this kind of situation? So we are going to discuss cloud on RAM functionality of SD-WAN. Okay, so and before that, it is going to be great if you go through my 4 or 5 videos on cloud networking from scratch. Believe me, once again, those videos can be seen by anybody, right? And as a network engineer, every network engineer should possess the kind of a knowledge which I have shared in my YouTube videos on cloud. Every network individual should uh, have at least that much knowledge. So I have designed that course from networking perspective only for the network engineers, because if you want to learn cloud, there are there is a huge there are more than 200 services in the cloud, right? You cannot read and understand everything. So we are network engineer. What basically we are going to see in the cloud is how it looks from the networking perspective. I'm not saying that you cannot do anything more. You should. If you want to learn cloud, please do. But at least understand cloud from networking perspective, because you are network engineers, right? And then you can build on top of it. So that course, which is on YouTube, that series, which is available on my YouTube channel, specifically talk about cloud from networking perspective, right? Because the sooner or later you are coming into this situation, because if you are a network designer, network engineer, you are going to see that most of the customer are moving into the cloud, right? And again, into the cloud, they are creating their own network. And how you are going to connect this network you have created in cloud efficiently with your branches or your campus, or maybe if you have a on-prem or co-location facility, right? So the problem is going to be same. So just try to understand cloud from networking perspective at least, and you can build on top of it. Okay, and that information is right there. It is absolutely from scratch. If you do not know anything about cloud, you can learn from there. Okay, so I am again repeating what customers' requirement or their problems are. The Sports India customer, what are their problems or their requirement? I think we have already discussed all these things. Somebody has means you all were pretty good with respect to collecting the requirement. But let's see once more, because I have gathered this information, right? Several outages in the past, and most of the outages are because the one link, which is the active link, is impaired. Impaired means it is working fine, but it is not able to take that much load. So previously, without the impairment, the to and fro uh, delay, right? Or the delay value was, say, 30 millisecond between the Mumbai data center and the campus, or from the branches into the campus. But now, after the impairment, it shoots up to 150 millisecond. And as customer mentioned, that their application is is uh, uh, is having some strict SLAs with respect to delay, jitter, and packet loss. Basically, the application experience from the campus and the branches was not good. We have discussed all these things in our application aware routing section, right? So you know that what customer is talking about. Then moving to cloud, we already discussed it. Application experience is poor, which we just discussed. And now basically, let's try to map whatever the customer is asking for and what we have as a solution. So moving to cloud, basically we will be working toward cloud on RAM, right? On-RAM solution of Cisco for the cloud. So basically, it is available for infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and whatnot. Okay. So application experience is poor. Then basically we can map it to our application aware routing, right? Then several outages in the past. Of course, they had outages because they were not easily moved. They were not able to easily move from their current traffic link to the other traffic link. Okay. So again, he is talking about application aware routing and spend more time in troubleshooting instead of innovation. That basically he is looking for single pane of glass for its WAN infrastructure, and that is why vManage is going to be there, right? Customer network is mainly MPLS, so this is kind of a more of a information, but not a requirement. But these were the requirement. These are the information which are converting into the requirement, right? Internet access from DC only. But yes, if we can provide him all the firewall capabilities at the router itself, then customer was pretty okay to move the security policies onto the branches itself. So specifically, if I may map this information or requirement, he's specifically asking for direct internet access, right? Not able to use both the links efficiently. Again, application aware routing, right? They have SD access at the LAN side. So basically, he's looking for interoperability between SDA and how you are going to achieve it, right? No single pane of glass. I think I have basically this requirement and this requirement is kind of a same. vManage can be a single pane of glass. Application has a strict LSAs. We are pretty good with that. Poor cloud experience. Again, we need to think in terms of cloud on RAM. Then shifting DCs to co-location facilities, right? Then we are going to talk about again the cloud on RAM solution. Okay. Another thing which is pretty important to see that customer, if I may draw this diagram of their customer data center somewhere here, right? So in data center, they have, or in most of their bigger branches, they have two routers, right? Router 1 and router 2. And they have connectivity like this. They have MPLS 1, and then they have MPLS 2, right? Right now, basically, if this device fails, right, then basically every traffic has to move to MPLS 2, right? But although I can say that link on a particular router itself, there is no link redundancy. On a particular router, I have only one link, right? And if you remember from our past discussions, our past session, there is a concept called T-lock extension, right? Which is exactly for the same kind of situation, right? If you want to give this topology, having a feeling of this topology, right? MPLS 1, MPLS 2, MPLS 1, MPLS 2, without actually buying the circuit, the second circuit, we can connect R1 and R2 and we can use T-lock extension feature, right? So basically, maybe sooner or later T-lock extension is also going to be there, right? So what exactly I'm doing, I am just planning to actually map which requirement or information can be achieved through what functionality, right? And it is on a pretty high level. I am not thinking in terms of creating any document for now, but yes, this is the thing which I have come across for now, right? So for now, I am open for questions, guys. If you have any specific question, with respect to this, please do ask. And then we can move to the next board after taking 10 minutes of coffee or tea break, whatever you want. Okay. So I am open for questions. Sumit, Vishal, Jyoti, Rahul, Rohit, Ashish ji, and Virat.
So Vishnu, I have a question. You have mentioned that I mean, in if customer is running DM VPN or something like that of configuration in his environment. So
Mhm.
basically, if even if he is running that kind of configuration, so I mean, if he is migrating to SD-WAN solution, so probably he needs, if he is using the, I mean, the routers, if they are compatible with SD-WAN solution, so probably that configuration needs to be wiped out, right?
Yes, absolutely. So
Mhm.
see, if
So,
customer
but
is used,
why, just
go
to,
ahead.
I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but why to understand this, what kind of DM, VPN or IPsec he's running? I mean, what kind of tunnels he's running into his environment?
It is why it is important because see, generally what customer wants that when you move their network from legacy, and I'm counting DMVPN as a legacy technology here
Mm-hmm.
because we have new, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is
Mm-hmm.
always important to understand their traffic flow because you do not want to disrupt any of their service when you move this DMVPN into SD-WAN, right? For
Mm-hmm.
example, right now, suppose in a DMVPN environment, I am pretty sure that they are running MPLS, right? And this device can talk to this device, but customer can have a topology in which he's saying that first of all, he has only tunnels with. Let me showcase you with the green color. He has the tunnels uh, only with data center of these branches, right? You need to understand this traffic flow because you do not want to disrupt. So if two of their branches want to communicate, they want to go to DC first and then they come back, right? So to begin with, you do not want to disrupt any of their traffic flow unless customer is okay with that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And how you are going to come to know that you do not want to disrupt any of their traffic flow? At least, first of all, first thing first, you need to understand what their current traffic flow is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for example, for a customer on which for which I'm currently working, right? They have a pretty good infrastructure. They have a pretty good infrastructure in terms of WAN right now. They are running BGP, everything is working fine, right? And they have a specific requirement. Whatever they are having the traffic flows, they want to see exactly the same thing in SD-WAN. And once they have that, then basically they can try to uh, change or edit it, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
problem is because they are moving into the new technology, and if customer is not aware of the technology, they generally do not trust, and they sometimes they want to have a POC first, proof of concept. But believe me, they do not want to see any disruption in their WAN network, right? They want whatever is working, it should be working, and on the top of it, if you can provide me something else, it is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the normal use case also. Suppose you are going for you already have a washing machine, right? And you want to purchase one more. You do not want to lose whatever your already washing machine is providing you, but you want the
Extra features.
features on top of it, right? So customer is the customer, right? And you are the customer in this case.
Mm.
So, any other questions, guys? Ask questions. Otherwise, how it is going to be, how you are going to learn,
Mm.
right? Whatever is coming to your mind, because this is actually what happens when we go and collect requirement. I have just talked with a customer only 20-25%. Although I'm with you that not all the customers are so technical, just like Ashish ji and Rohit. They were to the point, right? Because they knew their existing infrastructure well. But believe me, when you go into the real you go and meet to the real customer, and sometime in the public infrastructure domain, then basically you do not see customer who are pretty technical, right? Then you need to ask questions in a way so that those are pretty normal language, layman terms, and then you expect answer in those layman language, and then you need to convert at the first place those layman language into the requirement, and then, but that is again a fun, right? And that can you can do talking to a person who doesn't know about this technology if you know at the first place that technology well. And believe me, if you have gone through those 16 fundamental session, you know this technology well, right? And if you haven't, just go and watch all the videos which I have provided, or the sessions which I have provided. Okay. So having said that, let's take a break.
Vishnu, one more
Yeah,
thing
go
that
ahead.
we have to consider is the security part at the DC, at the branch, and at the DC as or a cloud platform as well. Correct?
Perfect. You are. Let me write it here. So most of the things, the security we are going to cover from this DIA section, and the firewall capabilities of these devices, firewall, IPS, IDS, whatever, right? So this device actually is a firewall, has the capability of normal firewall. So we are going to discuss. But yes, this is the this should be the thing which we need to understand. Good point, Vishal.
And are we going to use the way I think somebody I think mentioned that are we going to use the identical branch router, or we going to have a one more layer, or we going to replace with the SD-WAN edge devices?
Perfect. So basically, this should be the question which comes into our mind also. And believe me, just after when we come from the coffee or tea break, we are going to discuss that. Okay. So the next board is basically, let's come up with the high level design, right? After this, so we are putting some more brains into coming up on a high level design whenever we, and then we are introducing whether we want to use the new devices or existing devices are capable enough to take the load. Okay. Yeah. So what do you guys say? Vishal, Jyoti, Rahul, shall we take a break? Sumit, Ashish?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So I am starting a timer for 10 minutes. See you after 10 minutes. Hi all once again. So we have everybody here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Vishnu.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Let's start once again. So uh, let's try to create a high-level design out of the whatever we have received. So we have topology, we have some of the requirement from the customer. So let's brainstorm on that how we come up, how we can come up with the high-level design. So first thing first, let's move to the new board here. I haven't written anything here on this board. We will try to fill it. So the first thing, right? Whatever the customer is asking for, we need to collect all these requirements into a document, right? Here is the document, and we are going to say customer or customer requirement document, right? Whatever he is asking for. And believe me, this thing is not going to be done in 20 to 25 minutes. Whatever we have done is we just spend 20-25 minutes with customer, and that also with only the topmost executives, right? So you need to spend more time with customers, specifically their networking team, right? Who is working on their current WAN infrastructure right now, and then ask that what exactly they are looking for. Although you have some specific several requirements and information from these and the topology, but you need to refine it by going a little bit deeper into the requirements, right? Collect all those requirements, and then we are good. Okay, so what exactly you are looking for? The first thing first, if customer is looking for SD-WAN solution, right? They need to decide on controllers part, that whether they want to implement this controller on-prem or using Cisco Cloud, right? The first thing is CRD, and basically in the CRD document, you can write this also, that where controllers are going to be, right? So first you need to create the CRD document where you need to decide where exactly my controllers are going to be, and most of the customers are choosing Cisco Cloud, right? Because if you choose on-prem, then the management of the hardware on which you're going to run these virtual machines, which is vSmart, right? vManage and vBond, right? You need to manage everything. You need to take care of you are going to be responsible for taking backup and all those things, right? But yes, if you have dedicated people, you can do that. But most of the customers are choosing Cisco, so that Cisco can make sure that these controllers are up and running. You just need to let them know how many vSmart you are looking for, right? So generally, because vSmart is the most intelligent guy, and if it gets failed, then there is a problem. So generally, what happens? We need redundancy here, right? So maybe you can choose for at least two vSmart. So if one goes down, then we already have the second one, right? And similarly, people also
Vishnu,
choose. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry.
Mhm.
I think I don't know we discuss or not. Might be if we discuss, then I forgot. Let's say if I have one vSmart, right? And if it's failed, how many hours my VH will be work with the current key or something, whatever we have, and can new provision will be happen? Of course not, but just so those are the inline question with a vSmart failure. If we have only one, or if you have a two, if they both unreachable in the internet.
Yeah, this is again a good question. So suppose we have here our edges, right? Edge 1, edge 2, and edge 3. And now we are considering only a case where we have only one vSmart. And as you know, we create these DTLS tunnel with the vSmart, right? And these are the tunnels where we run OMP. So that basically we exchange routes, whatever the routes here or here, right? This is the simple fundamentals behind this. But what Vishal is asking, what is going to happen if we do not have this vSmart, right? Or it is down now, right? So basically, that is where we have this graceful uh, setting, right? Graceful restart setting here. So by default, the time is 24 hours. Time of 24 hours for what, right? Suppose all these OMP pairings are down, because if vSmart is down, then basically the other neighbor is down. So one neighbor is this one, and the other neighbor at the other end of the OMP is the vSmart. If it goes down, then basically all the OMP pairing is going to be down, right? So by default, the edge one is going to have all those routes into its routing table for the 24 hours, right? And this uh, timer is configurable. Okay, so there is not going to be any impact on the uh, IPsec tunnels which are going on between these routers, maybe the full mesh, right? There is not going to be any impact on that. Okay, so where is the impact? So if it is goes down 24 hours, the traffic is going to be moved in accordance with whatever the routing information which you have previously. And believe me, you want to have this to set the key or the rekey timer with this setting, whatever you have for 24 hours, right? Why I'm saying key? Because over these IPsec tunnels, if you want to communicate, right, then key is required. And why key is required? From our fundamental session, because we need to encrypt a message over these IPsec tunnel. And if there is no key, then it's a problem. And generally, there is a rekey mechanism. After some time, we need to rekey, right? And who is responsible for rekeying? vSmart. And if vSmart is there, then basically this functionality is not going to be there. So this timer and this timer is going to be in work in conjunction. So whole sole point is that if we do not have vSmart up and running, OMP neighborship is going to be down, and your setup is going to be running for 24 hours. If depending on what is the graceful restart timer. Once the timer is there, then basically this device is going to reboot itself, right? And then it is going to repeat the same process. It is going to make a connection with vBond. It is looking for its vSmart and vManage, and then basically it's going to restart again. And it will getting the running configuration or the startup configuration from the vManage to begin with, right? So why we have chosen this 24 hours time period of time for, because generally and this is configurable, means you can choose 12 hours, because generally if there is a no routing change, then there is no point of shutting these IPsec tunnels down also and making the complete network shutdown. Instead, what we are doing is we are relying on the existing information, whatever the existing information we have right now, and working on that. Okay, so Vishal, is it making any sense?
Yes, yes. So the nutshell is the rekey timer and the graceful restart timer should be identical, right? You say?
Yes, if
Okay.
if we have chosen rekey.
Okay.
So generally it is implemented. Again having the default value with 24 hours, but yes, we can tweak it. But if you are tweaking it, if you are doing it for 12 hours and this value is pretty long, then basically it is not going to work, because all the key distribution is the responsibility of vSmart. Okay.
Got
So
it.
okay, so this way, whatever we are talking about right now is first thing first. We are going to deploy the controllers, right? And in the meantime, Cisco Cloud Ops teams does that. We are working. We are going to work more towards the cloud because this is going to take some time, maybe 1 week of time. Means if you open a ticket, then they are going to spin up, and then basically they need to whitelist your IP address. What is the meaning of whitelisting your IP addresses? So that you can go and manage these vManage and vSmart. So vSmart is, as I mentioned, is one of the most crucial piece. We are having the redundancy, and I could see that customer even choose the redundancy in the vBond also. Right, several large customers basically are asking for redundancy in vManage also, right? So it is up to you, basically how you are going to do. But most of the customers which I have seen is having one vManage, right? Two vSmart and one vBond. And I would say when we are going to propose this to this customer, they are going to be pretty okay with that. Okay, because right now they have everything in India, and whenever we go, we are going to make this solution scalable, right? And this, yeah, any questions, Jyoti?
Yeah. Actually, in SD-WAN, can we load balance the traffic?
Load balance the traffic, yes, of course we can load balance the traffic between on the edges. If we have 2 or 3 links, we can load balance the traffic. But what is the question here?
Means like if customer requirement is like 50% of the traffic should go by this means MPLS and 50% by internet.
Yeah, we can do that. Oh, we can do that. Okay, so vSmart, vBond, redundancy is required, we can provide. Otherwise, 2 vSmart, 1 vBond, and 1 vManage is going to be enough. Okay. Again, what exactly should be the CPU and memory requirement of this vSmart vManage? It is going to be right there on the Cisco website, and we can check it. Okay, but customer has to figure out that whether they want this controller on their site on-prem, or basically they want Cisco to implement all these controllers on the cloud. Okay, so when I was talking about the scaling of this solution. So right now we have 2 vSmart, and suppose if the customer come up with another region in EMEA, right? So Cisco SD-WAN provide the capability that you can increase the vSmart at later point of time also, and that is why they are calling it as a horizontal scaling. This is my horizontal line. So you can, if you have a 2 vSmart, then basically you can add one more, then it is going to be 3, and then 4, and those are part of your solution. So you can do this, right? But yes, you need to tweak the tunnels. For example, every VH device is going to make the DTLS tunnel with at least 2 vSmarts, right? And on each of the transports. So you need to make sure that what exactly you are trying to do here. Otherwise, there are so many control plane control connections with the vSmart. So there are certain knobs available there to figure out at what transport you are going to make that control connection. So if that thing is not making sense for you now, that is perfectly fine. What we are just talking about here is uh, deploy the controllers in the cloud. We are going to suggest to this customer that now we know your requirements, right? We have created a document. Let's deploy your controllers in the cloud, and we are going to deploy 2 vSmart, 1 vBond, and believe me, if you want more, then we can have more, because this is a horizontal scaling solution, so no problems, right? So the second thing is, now let's talk about the device. what devices we are going to need, right? So now the question which was asked by Ashish also, which was asked by Vishal also, right? Suppose a customer on their branches and their data center has a router. Maybe it is an ASR 1001 or 1002 HX series router or ASR 1000 router, right? Who is already running uh, Cisco's XC software. So can I use this in my SD-WAN solution? And yes, we can use it. You just need to boot this router basically in the SD-WAN. There are options to boot this router in normal XE or SD-WAN, right? So you need to boot it, and then basically this device is up and running with respect to SD-WAN capabilities. But the question is, if you want to do this, then the migration approach is going to be different, right? Suppose this router is capable of doing SD-WAN, then of course we can convert this branch router into SD-WAN router, which is going to be part of my fabric, right? But we are going to do the operation on the same device. So you can understand, right? We are talking about downtime here, because if we are rebooting this router, right, it is the reboot is going to take time, and whatever is connected, the devices or the laptop on this branch, those users are going to be impacted, right? So if you are exactly changing this device from normal XE to SD-WAN, and you want to make this branch as a part of your SD-WAN network, then there is going to be downtime when you do the migration, right? But suppose your customer is a branch router again. Now this router is not capable of running this XE code, right? It is not capable of having SD-WAN. Then what you need to do? The customer has to purchase the new device, right? And what you can do, you can build a parallel network here, right? And we are going to, by the way, we are not discussing the migration right now. The migration discussion is going to be approximately 2 hours long, which require a lot of understanding, right? And we are going to do the migration session on tomorrow. Okay, we are taking enterprise from the scratch, who is running the legacy environment, and then we are going to move that legacy enterprise into SD-WAN capable environment. Okay, in what order you are going to do? Controller first, data center first, and then the branches, right? Believe me, there is going to be another interesting session which we are going to do tomorrow. But right now, from the overall design perspective, we need to come across that what exactly the model which we are going to decide for this customer. If customer is saying my devices are already capable of SD-WAN and I do not want to purchase more, right? Then your responsibility is to evaluate those devices, whether those are capable enough to run the current load, whatever customer is asking for. Okay, so right now there are two things. If the device is capable enough of running SD-WAN, we are going to migrate it and moving it to the SD-WAN fabric. If not, right, then basically we are going to build the parallel network and migrate all these subnets from here to here, and then make this transport as a part of your SD-WAN, right? But now the question is, how are you going to decide the device itself, right? Which model you are going to which model you are going to suggest to customer, right? Generally, when we start working on this on SD-WAN project, we already have all the devices sold to the customer as a part of solution, right? So whatever we already have the bill of materials where we can see that these are the devices which have been sold to the customer, and we need to build the design out of that, right? But it is not the case with always with all the companies. Sometimes you need to recommend, maybe you are part of the sales, right? You need to recommend that to achieve this solution, what exactly the devices you need to purchase, right? So we have a team here, and basically the technical marketing team, where we generally go and ask them that whether this device is capable of making full mesh between 200 sites, right? So generally the idea is how many interfaces should be there, right? How many transport I'm using, how many LAN side of interfaces I should be having, right? And then how much we are talking in terms of bandwidth, how much my device is capable of handling the IPsec connection. So all these things are important, right? IPsec connections, because if it is a full mesh, then basically how many you can calculate with the formula n into n minus 1 by 2, where n is the number of devices, right? And then basically what interfaces we are talking about, right? Whether if I am choosing an LTE as in transport, then whether this device is able to support that or not. Then what bandwidth we are talking about on those interfaces, right? Sometimes we calculate the throughput also. Means what exactly means if I'm running IPsec, it means that the system is doing encryption and decryption, right? So its capability, the computing power. So if we do not run IPsec, then of course the system throughput is going to be high, right? If I say throughput, it means that how much data can flow from this device from one part of the network to other part of the, how much this device is capable of sending data, right? So all this information, all this device information, you can exactly find from here, right? So I'm not talking about VHs and the data sheet of the VHs. I am talking about the CH. CH means the Cisco Edge, and whatever we were talking about in this complete course for VH. So mostly Cisco is positioning CH because these are going to be the system who are running this XC code, and in future, basically you are going to get the support of the CHs, right? So most of the companies are considering CHs instead of VH nowadays. So if you want, I can send this link to you where these 8500 series edge platform routers, which are the latest and greatest in the field of SD-WAN, who are capable of doing, and those are coming with these three different kind of models, depending on the interfaces, their bandwidth, and how much throughputs they have, right? So if you go a little bit here, then everything with respect to whatever you need to know about these devices, right? So generally, whenever we see that the sales team has sold this to us, we just go and check the capabilities of these devices. For example, for this model, basically we have the tunnel scale of 8,000, right? And the throughput is 68 Gbps if you are doing IPsec, okay? Or 31, sorry. And then basically whatever the detail you want to know, everything is right here, okay? Right now, how many devices or the CHs are there who are capable of doing SD-WAN, right? So what I've done here is I have come to this page. In this SD-WAN section, I just click on the devices who are capable of doing SD-WAN, right? So here you can go and compare the devices. At least 8500 switches are, sorry, routers are here. Then basically, if you are looking in the field of virtual, okay, let me open this Epic Pen so that I can write here also. And just wait a minute.
Does the 8000 series model support this XR platform also?
XE.
XR.
No. It is designed for this. XE is the operating system which is going there. Okay. So if you are talking about virtual routers, right? We just Catalyst 8000 we have, right? So if you are creating your lab, make sure that you have either Catalyst 8000V or basically CSR router. So these are the Catalyst 8300 series routers. Okay, these are the one. And if I go here, I am saying just load 30 routers, whatever who are capable of. So some of the routers here, if you can see, those are just the just for the small business, right? But they are capable of doing SD-WAN. If I say they are capable of doing SD-WAN, it means that they can be part of SD-WAN fabric and they can initiate the tunnels, right? They can be managed from vManage. Then we have ISR series routers here, right? So you can check the data sheet in accordance and then you can work around, okay? So then basically I was talking about this. If you are looking for your virtual lab, then CSR can do the job because it can run XC SD-WAN code. Okay. Then basically, I think you all have heard about ASR series routers, right? 1001, 1002. They are all they all can do SD-WAN. Okay, running XC code. So these are the device specific things, and you need to be very means if you can go down to the details, read the data sheets, and then basically if you are in the business of suggesting the model number to customer, then basically this is the site where you can go and compare. Okay, everything is there, all the details regarding the throughput, what exactly this device is capable of. Everything is you can find on Cisco website. Okay. So having said that, right now we have talked about the CRD document where basically we collected all the requirements. We talked about where we want to put the controllers, and then third thing is the devices, right? The second thing was controllers. Any questions?
So Vishnu, in this particular case, the branch and the DC will have a different model on the hardware, correct? Like because of the DC will might be have a better equipped hardware, like 5000 series or something like that, or 2000 series, something like that.
Yeah. So suppose if you are choosing a hub and spoke type of model, right? Then basically your branch should not be means you are having pretty few connections here, right? Over the transport. So it doesn't need to be that strong, because what it is actually doing is it is just going into the SD-WAN fabric. It is in the part of SD-WAN fabric and just passing the traffic, but it is not doing much in terms of creating the IPsec connections, right? But yes,
Understand.
if your edges are making the full mesh, for example, generally what companies do. Okay, I'll give you an example. What generally companies do, for example, if you are into this particular region, right? This region is your Asia Pac region. What they do is generally previously they were using MPLS, so they do not want to disrupt that. And in MPLS, if there are two branches, they can suppose this is your DC, they can talk directly, right? In the legacy network also. So what generally they do is into a particular region, they say you need to be full mesh, right? And suppose in this region you have 100 sites, then 100 into 99 divided by 2, it means that 50 into 99 tunnels you need, right? And if I solve this 100 minus 1, then basically we have 5000 minus 50, these many tunnels, right? So which is basically your device 8500 is capable of doing if you have 100 branches into a particular region, right? But generally, most of the guys says that it is perfectly fine to have these 100 branches running in hub and spoke. Then basically you do not need this device to be pretty powerful. But yes, this device is, yes, you can have different models. And you have to have, right? Because data center devices are going to be pretty powerful as compared to whatever we have at the branches or the campus, right? Or any, sometimes there is a requirement, and I haven't discussed you two things still yet. The first thing is cloud on RAM, which we are going to talk at the last session. And the second thing is service chaining, or basically service insertion. So these two topics are going to be on the last class. Tomorrow we are going to discuss migration, and then basically we can say that yes, we can design the network of it. We can design any SD-WAN network from scratch. Okay, once you know that. So you are right, Vishal. You can have multiple different models of these devices depending on the load. Okay, first thing first, CRE document, you know what devices you are going to use, you know where is the controllers. And now let's talk about the initial design or high level design, which you can come up with. Right? So if I say, here are your controllers, which are deployed in Cisco Cloud, your vBond, vSmart, again, one more vSmart, and then your vManage. For this customer, Sports India, customer is going to talk to Cisco that I want to have these things, and on whose recommendation? On your recommendation, right? So this part is done. Now let's talk about their data center part. They have two data center for now. And right now they are having a redundancy in terms of WAN router. So we are making sure that we have the same thing, right? If the customer is going to use the same thing, we need to ask the customer team that what they are planning to. So their current, suppose their current data center routers or the WAN edge routers are not capable of doing SD-WAN. And if they are not capable of doing SD-WAN, right, then basically we need to place our edges somewhere here. And they do not want to disrupt their network also. So we need to place our edge routers, right, whatever model we have decided to put into this data center one, into a location where it cannot impact much of the things in data center, because most of the times, as in this case, you are getting onto the network which are already there, right? You are not going to get the green field deployment because most of the customer are going to have their own WAN infrastructure, right? You are going to be getting always brownfield, right? So then you need to place your edge routers here, and the transport, what we can say to customer that MPLS one transport you can have, right? Which is, and then basically it is up to the customer, and it's is how much he is willing to pay, right? You can suggest two things, that whether we can have MPLS one, MPLS two, and then basically we can have an internet connection, right? But from the customer sentiments, he was saying that he has spent too much of his money into WAN circuits and it is not getting the ROI, right? So we can say them that be on these two MPLS circuit, that is fine, no problem at all. But if you want to save some cost, then you can remove this MPLS2 and take a 1 gig connection of internet, right? We will be using this connection to to pass some of the traffic, and basically if there is impairment in the MPLS network, then basically we can pass it to the internet if it is performing well, right? So it is up to the customer, but generally at the data center side, a customer can have multiple transport, MPLS 1, MPLS 2, and internet, so that the branches can choose any connectivity model, right? For example, this campus should be connected to all three things, means MPLS, MPLS 2, and branch. This is perfectly fine. But on a remote location, we have only internet, so this branch can connect to internet only. But this branch can connect to MPLS 2 and internet, right? So generally, I have seen that these data center is the place where we have almost most of the managed connectivity, right? Because at the end of the day, everything is going through data center. Okay, so it is up to the customer what he decided, and we need to make sure that what customer is. So let's choose that customer is decided and that he wants to be having MPLS 1, he wants to be having MPLS 2, but of course MPLS 2 is going to be pretty stripped down in terms of bandwidth, maybe pretty less bandwidth as compared to MPLS 1, right? And then he's going to have the internet circuit also on the data center, so that he can use the power of application aware routing, right? If this link is not working fine, he's checking this one and this one. And of course, the application aware routing can be used on only those branches or the big branches where we have multiple transport, more than one transport. If we have only one transport, then how are we going to use it, right? So, but yes, we can suggest to the customer, because customer was saying a single point of failure in most of his branch locations, right? And that is the case because most of his branch location is only connected to one MPLS service provider. If I can showcase you this diagram here, right? We were talking about this diagram. So if you can see this branch number 5 here, right? This was only connected to the one MPLS transport. This is only connected to the one MPLS transport. So what we can suggest to the customer that it is good, it is going to be good if we can connect this MPLS to one more transport, which is internet. So if this link goes down, then basically we have another link, right? So there is a little bit of there are going to be changes in the topology. And what I want from you now is, guys, that if you come up with the topology for this network, right, whatever we have discussed in this. So what I'm looking for is if you can just draw the topology and come up with all the features that are going to be required with the devices model in the next class, it is going to be great, right? We have time, not the next class, means not tomorrow, maybe on upcoming Saturday, right? So you can present your topology, you can present the features, how you're going to implement it, and then basically the devices. Just try to start thinking from this this aspect, right? You have done a lot of configurations. I'm not talking about everybody, right? There are many people in this group who are going to listen this as a recording also, who are working on the configuration part. But believe me, just try to think from the design aspects also. It is not difficult at all, right? If you understand the technology well, you can design the network. So I'm pretty sure that you are pretty good with respect to configurations, right? But configurations limit you with a particular technology, with a particular uh, piece of the entire solution. So if I consider entire solution as this circle, then if you're doing the configuration, uh, then basically you are only covering this part. Try to think the complete solution, and believe me, your configuration part is going to be pretty easy. Okay, but most of us spend time learning the configuration, which is not the correct approach. Just try to think the complete solution first, understand the nitty-gritties, and then talk about configuration, that is going to be making more sense to you. Having said that, with this today's lecture, what we have done, we have covered the requirement from the, we have gathered the requirement from the customer, right? We have we have asked for the topology, has given the topology, but yes, I do agree with you that we need to spend more time with customers network engineering team, right? So that we get more information. But with this information, whatever we could do, we have done that, right? So what next Saturday when we are going to meet, although we are going to meet tomorrow also, but next Saturday, what I am expecting from you guys is just draw a high level topology, right? You do not need to even showcase it to me, right? But whether you, if you have learned something or not out of this course, just draw a topology which covers all the problems and all the solution of the customer problem, right? Just draw a neat and clean diagram which consists of all these vBond, vSmart, then the data center, then this edge device which you are going to place. Just try to think where you are going to place that edge device, right? Believe me, we are going to cover in the next session in the migration portion, right? Then what transport we are looking for, as customer is saying single point of failure, which branches you are going to give another transport to, right? If you think in this manner, you are going to be great. So topology, features, devices, and how you are, if you have that clear vision, that clear diagram in your head, then you can work along with your team, right? To pass this information, see, this is the high level design I'm thinking, and can we work towards low level design? And in that low level design, you are giving more information with respect to what port is going to be connected to which port, right? What is going to be my transport, what is going to be my access side or the service side, right? And then you were thinking in terms of what my template is going to be looking like. For example, this customer is going to have different type of sites, right? A particular branch which is only connected because there is no MPLS at all into this particular branch, right? Branch one, and maybe there are only 5 or 10 employees which comes here, or this is a small store. So if we have an internet connectivity only here, right? The customer can have branches where he has MPLS as well as internet connectivity, right? Customer can have branches where it can have both the MPLS branches, sorry, transport. The customer can have also the branches or campus, which can have all these three connectivity, MPLS1, MPLS2, and the internet, right? So basically, these are the various type which you can think of, right? And believe me, if you can think this type, different types, then you can come up with those templates for these types. That for type, I'm deciding this is my type number 1, which consists of 3 transport, right? So I can create a device template for this, and then feature template which talk about 3 transport. And then for all such site, I will be pushing the template. It is going to be very interesting, guys. Okay, so similarly with type 2, type 3, you can divide it, and on the basis of transport, on the basis of whatever the service site you are running. So just try to think, means you have 4-5 days, means after this Sunday, and if you can think it of something, then maybe you can ask questions and which are going to be important when you're going to deploy SD-WAN network. Okay. So having said that, basically the next board which I was thinking today to present was migration consideration on the same board. So what we are going to do tomorrow, we are going to take this data center, right? We will draw it somewhat bigger here. And I will showcase you that this data center is going to be having switches, then distribution switches, and then basically the WAN router. Where exactly we need to put our edges, right? Because we do not want to disrupt the existing solution of the customer. Similarly, on this branch or in this campus, if the customer is deciding to move from this device to a new device, then it is good. It is going to be different migration strategy. If the customer is choosing the different device, it is going to be the different. Okay, so we are going to discuss each and every migration strategy in tomorrow's 2-hour session, which is going to be another interesting session because this is the thing which you come across, because you are not going to get any greenfield deployment at all. You are only going to get the brownfield deployment where you are going to find this existing topology into the customer network. And then you need to come up with a plan to migrate this existing infrastructure to a new solution, which is your SD-WAN. Okay, so having said that, this is what I wanted to cover in today's session. I am open for questions now, and I will be here for next couple of minutes. Means if there are questions, I can hear for even longer. So Mr. Sumit, Vishal, Rahul, Virag, Amit, Jyoti, Ashish, are you guys comfortable? Can you think of something in the next presentation or next session in terms of topology and all?
Yes, Vishnu. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I have some of the things. Do we have to consider? I think definitely. Do we have to consider traffic type, like what kind of traffic they are sending, like or each and every use cases, right? Like TCP, UDP, all those things, right? And then are they doing a NAT or PNAT or something like that on the branch side or
Yes,
on the
yes,
DC?
absolutely. Because whenever you are saying that, and those are some of the requirements which you come across, then you can ask really good questions. For example, if this guy is having this internet, right? I haven't covered most of the things for this customer, the cloud on RAM, right? Then if it is having internet, then we need to perform NAT here if we want to go directly to the cloud or the internet, right? So we need to think from that perspective. We need to think from the application's SLA's requirement perspective, that what exactly the customer application requirement is and how basically we are going to enable that application aware routing, because this is going to ask you that what are those parameters which are, if they do not meet, then basically I can be shifting. So that is where your application analysis with the customer, and believe me, the customer network team is not going to be with you for 1 or 2 meetings. They are going to be with you for a longer period of time, unless you have finalized the HLD and LLD, maybe in the implementation phase also, right? So uh, during this period, which is period of 2 to 3 months, you are meeting customer twice or thrice in a week, and that is where you are going to collect all such requirements. But yes, you are right, the application traffic analysis is again the important piece, because if you do not understand the existing traffic flow, existing traffic, existing application, it is going to be very difficult for you to migrate from this network.
Sir, from the certification perspective, also we need to ask, no, certificate authority.
Yeah, so right now, basically, that is why the important things comes up here. Here, customer is choosing to deploy network in Cisco's environment, right? So it is the responsibility of Cisco to manage the trust between vManage, vSmart, and these edges, right? So if customer choose Cisco for the certificate trust, right? He doesn't need to do anything. But some customer says, I want to use my certificate authority to do that, right? Then basically we need to provide Cisco all these certificates, like the device certificate for all these devices, and the root certificate on all these devices. And we need to install the root certificate here. The concept is going to be the same thing, right? But most of the customer, believe me, they are going for choosing Cisco's certificate authority here, so that Cisco can place its root certificate right onto this edge device, and whenever they comes up, contact to vBond, they are going to make a connection with the vSmart or the vBond, whatever we have, and those devices can already authenticate. And because Cisco has put the root certificate as the device certificate of this device when they ship it to you. Okay, so if you want to create that full infrastructure on your own, you can do that, or you can choose Cisco to get rid of all these certification creation process.
So Vishnu,
Sure.
a question on that line. What will be the cost like? Is the cost effective solution or like compared to have something like or our controllers are on our DC rather than go to the Cisco?
It is Vishal, very tricky because see, if you want to calculate the cost, the cost is, see, you can have one ESX server, pretty powerful machine, and you can run an hypervisor like ESX and then run all these on the same box, right? But to maintain that thing in long term, you need to have this space requirement, rack requirement, and then the people here, right? So I'm not sure how you are going to calculate the entire cost versus this, but yes, if most of the enterprises are choosing Cisco's cloud solution, then in terms of pain and in terms of cost, it is more effective, the cloud solution from Cisco, right? But most of the banks are having stringent requirements, so they are still choosing because they have a dedicated team who can take care of all this information, right? So if you ask me, the Cisco's cloud solution is the cost-effective solution in terms of everything.
And the project that you do, right? Like, what is the bandwidth that they have? Like generally, in average, on their DC side for internet or MPLS and their branches, what is the average? What you see
I
generally?
have seen in the MPLS portion, it is 10 gig. Sorry. Between data center, it is basically 10 gig. And on the MPLS side, I have seen 1 gig to 10 gig also.
Yeah, thanks.
And that is where basically you have seen so many interfaces on. If you just check the models of these devices, which I was showcasing you 8,000 devices, you can come across that we have so many interface combinations there. Means it doesn't matter that how much you are going to use, but yes. But if you specifically ask me, then I can provide you the exact numbers with some of the customer, not with the customer names, but yes, that how much everyone is using. Because if they are using the private circuit, because sometimes they are using private circuits also as a transport, right, to connect their various things. So that is mostly into this 10 gig range. But yes, I can make an Excel sheet of general usage of MPLS and internet in most of the customer environment. I can give you. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody else? If not, then one more thing I would like to mention, that next Sunday, so next Saturday, our course is going to be finished, right? But Sunday, I am coming up with a 3-hour session on TCP, transmission control protocol from scratch. So I was thinking to create a course out of it, and I was thinking that it is going to go over in 4 or 5 hours. But believe me, it took me 9 hours to complete the TCP, and that is pretty thorough. Whatever you need to learn from the TCP, it is right there on those videos. But what I was thinking is to have a live session on TCP where of approximately 2.5 hours to 3 hours, where we will start from scratch. It is going to be on Sunday. You need to register for it, and the minimum cost is only 1 rupees, and the maximum cost you can define. But you need to register for it. So already I think 85 people have registered for it, and what I want is that your email ID should be in that database, so that whenever I am sharing those videos, it reaches to you. Okay. So just go to my LinkedIn page, just register yourself, and you would be good to go. Okay, those are going to be pretty interesting session, guys, because I have really made it pretty simple to learn. And if you are preparing for any kind of interview for any company, because most of us gets freak out when company ask or the interviewer asks regarding TCP, right? Because most of us are pretty good with network layers. So Nobody take care about the transport. So let's take this responsibility of transport also. It is very simple protocol. I have explained TCP from scratch. So if it is up to you if you want to join that. But if you do not even want to join that, at least register so that you can have those 10 hours videos with you. Okay, just an announcement. So thank you so much, everybody. Amit, Virag, Rahul, Jyoti, Ashish, Vishal, and Sumit, thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Be ready for another session, which is going to be on migration. 2 hours only on migration. Having said that, bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.